Phil, so much of this, we discussed this in such great length, and the evidence in this case is very powerful. And now that they have recovered a lot of this evidence on the perpetrator, very difficult case for an attorney who will be representing him to fight this case. Phil.
Yeah, a defense attorney is going to have a real difficult time. The only thing that I could see a defense attorney could put forward is to say, that's not my client in those photographs. However, we're going to have DNA, and we're going to have fingerprints, and we're going to have the gun that was recovered with hopefully the ballistics matching up. So there's going to be so many different things. And I think we talked about this early on. This investigation is probably only about 25% over with. There's still a lot of investigation that has to be done. We're going to find out a lot of different things. Once we get into what we term perpology, which is the study of the perpetrator, the investigation into the background of the perpetrator. What did his cell phone tell us? I believe his electronics were locked. It's going to probably be a little bit of time to get into them. But, he's a tech savvy guy. He's a young kid that has a master's degree. Specifically in engineering, and so he knows he develops games for games that are played on the internet. So he knows how to encrypt his cell phone probably. However, I think they will be able to get into it. They're going to go into any communication he had with his computer. That's going to open up a whole different investigation. So it's going to be painstaking. It's not over. There's a long way to go. I want to know, and I think everybody wants to know, how he knew about the exact time that Brian Thompson was going to be exiting that first hotel, going across the street to the New York Hilton, and he was laying in wait. He had many people walk past him. The minute Brian Thompson walked past him, he got out right behind him, produced a firearm, and shot him and killed him. That's going to be intricate. We know that there's video of him right before the shooting of. He could have been imitating that he was on the cell phone, but he had the cell phone to his ear. Who was he talking to? That's going to be very, very important. It was 6:30 in the morning, let's say. I don't think he was talking about the weather in Manhattan at 6:30 in the morning. So all of these things have to be investigated. There's a long road ahead when it comes to the investigation. The investigators can now take a deep breath. They have him in custody. Now the real nitty-gritty of the investigation is going to take place.
I want to know where he's been the last couple of days and if anybody's been helping him.
Absolutely.
Bobby, the NYPD is like shutting the door on that. It's too early to shut the door on that. You cannot say at this point that, he acted alone. There's no way you can say that right.
But a simple thing is ask his family members, look at the pictures that have been all over the news. Why didn't you pick up a phone and call?
That's right.
You know what I mean? I mean, you can't say if that was your son, if that was your cousin, you didn't know who it was. Well, I thought it looked like him. That's a pretty good picture from the hostel. I mean, if you knew that person, if you went to school with that person, if you went to Christmas parties with that person, you'd know that's him. Look, that picture right there that you're showing now. I mean, if you're related to that person, if you spent 4 years at university with that person or in master's class, you know him. You'd know that's him, and nobody picked up the phone. It was a stranger in Altoona, Pennsylvania that this all hinged on.
I want to know from his phone records. Maybe family members were calling him. You were in New York. This looks like you. That's going to be key to getting his cell phone records. Maybe other friends, relatives called him, said, "Hey, where are you? Are you in New York?" All of that's going to play out. And it's just a shame that it went as long as it did, that somebody didn't pick up the phone sooner rather than later. But thank God for that customer today in that McDonald's.
To tell you the truth, I think probably a lot of people. Does he want to come on the show? I know a lot of people.
He agreed with what I said.
A lot of people probably did recognize him. They just didn't call because they didn't want to. And that's part of the society we live in. And some people in the chat call the person that called in a rat. A rat, really. He's a rat because they told on someone who killed someone, killed an innocent civilian. He's a rat. No, I don't think the same way as you do. Professor Mike.
Yeah, Bill, the sad part about it is when they say those sorts of things, they're encouraging this sort of behavior because he's not the only lunatic out there. There's other people just like this. And I want to know from looking at his laptop, when they start to open up his laptop and they get all the, everything from it, I want to know when this campaign of hatred, when he first expressed in any sort of document or any sort of email, when he started expressing for the first time his initial expression of hate or anger towards Brian Thompson or CEOs of healthcare industries. And I want to know the date he did it, and what was in the message, and who he sent it to. And I want to see how that person reacted. I want to know all that going back as old as that laptop is, 6 months or a year. I want to know that. I also want to know from the 4th to the present, that's 5 days, who